Yo, 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 it's your boy John Smooth, and we're going to talk about drones, right, and what's really going on here, because here we have a map of today with just drones. They said that they spot them in New Jersey, but I have an example here, right, and I also pulled up a map from, that's the same place, right? It's just different roads, different canals, things like that. So now I'm gonna try to back this up. And yeah, that was the 1795 map. So here we have that. That's the 1795 map. It looks a lot different, doesn't it? From what it's been industrialized into today, right? Less rivers, more roads. See, so let's go to this is the map. North America 1702, right? Just to give people an example, right? Because they said America doesn't even know what these drones are, and we're spending all this money towards knowing security, right? And we don't even know what these drones are flying over for, but here America is spending millions on security, right? So here we have another video. Drone expert explains what he thinks about before drone sightings. But before I get this started, right, I just wanted to say, first things first, let's really explain this, right? Okay, so if we really wanted to figure out what's going on here, because this could be our own government, right? Because if they really wanted to know what's going on, they would say, okay, what's the model? Where's the model where the factory is making these drones? Where are these drones being manufactured? But none of that is taking place. So by the looks of this is basically a test to see if we really, or they really blatantly just don't know. And if that's the case, it could be beings beyond the ice wall, right? And they are mapping out what all the ins and corners, ins and outs of the land are, because look at the differences between 1795 map and today's map, right? So 1702 map from North, you see all those different entrances, canals, all that kind of stuff. So as you can see, the land truly has like dried up more, with dams being like blood clots, stopping the flow of stuff. So like, you know, if America really wanted to know what's going on, okay, what are the models of the drones? Where are these drones being manufactured? But the fact that none of that is going on means that it could be a psyop, like Bluebeam, where they're faking extraterrestrials, they're faking different things. Because if there's mayhem, that's when America can say, okay, it's martial law, let's put people in camps. This is turning into Nazi. And if we don't see this, I'm gonna make us see it, because this is really out of hand. And the fact that they're acting like, putting their hands up, acting like they don't know what's going on, really raises the concern, right? So let's play this.
Significant concern among residents and local and state leaders. The mystery widens. Today, people in the New York metro area are reporting a growing number of drone sightings in their communities following a wave of mysterious drone appearances in the skies over New Jersey. This is sparking significant concern among residents and local and state leaders. The White House and the FBI says there is no evidence that the drones pose a national security threat or have a foreign connection, but that's only adding to the confusion. So far, there are no explanations as to what they are, where they're coming from, or who is launching them. For weeks now, the drones have been spotted over homes, critical infrastructure, and sensitive government sites. Today, frustrated lawmakers have gone from asking questions to demanding answers.
New Jersey can't become the Wild West of drone activity. no state become the Wild West.
You see what I just said? I said they're gonna try to raise mayhem. They're gonna try to create anarchy. They're gonna try to create fear, right? So the fact that they're acting like we don't know what's going on means that it could definitely be our own government, or it could be ETs beyond the wall checking the different ins and outs, different intrications of what has changed over the land, because a lot has changed. A lot of parking lots have been built, a lot of different things like that, airports, underground bases that the government spent trillions on. So there's all kind of factors that weigh into this. But let's go back to like Admiral Byrd, right? It says Admiral Byrd led a scientific expedition to Antarctica that included the first flight over the South Pole. Colder during the south, or it's an ice wall all around us, right? Because how is that possible? It says they always say North Pole with Santa and all that kind of stuff, but Admiral Byrd went to the South Pole, right? See, and like, so it says here Byrd claimed to have circled the North Pole, but some questioned to reach it. So there's also like all kind of different things, right? Like this, right? There's a book that he made right here. Where is it? Beyond, right? And he wrote this book, Expedition to Antarctica. So let's search up something real quick, y'all. See if it pops up. Ice wall. See right here. Now this makes a lot more sense, right? What this shit actually looks like. So you have the first one. You have, cause this idea of ETs, the ETs aren't in space. This is what the government fears, because the government has been trying to use CERN to bring in ETs to kill us off, because they know that the ETs beyond this wall are starting to crack down on what's really going down here. They're getting beings to fall. They're forcing them into way of lives that ruin the planet, right? So if these beings were to come in through the ice wall, remember, they want us to look at these beings like an enemy, right? They want us to demonize these beings beyond the ice wall. But in actuality, there has been countless amounts of unidentified flying objects the government doesn't know about. And they have shut down nukes at military bases. They have shut down all kinds of things, right, that are being built, whether it's technology that can harm the masses, right? There's been many cases of drones that they don't know where it's coming from. They say space, all this kind of crap, but they're literally just beyond the ice wall, right? Look at this. So coming back to this, right, it really, look, see, unacceptable to have so much unexplained drone activity. And what is people like Trump or JFK been saying? They say, oh, we're gonna bring these dark societies to light, right? But in what kind of fashion are you gonna do it? I say what kind of fashion, because they could be trying to introduce these beings beyond the ice wall in a way where they demonize them and say they've been doing all the evil in this inner wall. But that's the evil Anunnaki and evil and reptilian. But outside that wall, there are positive reptilian, positive ancient Nephilim. There could be ancient giants. There could be ancient dragons. There could be ancient Asians, what they call today Asians. Are they really ancient? There could be all kinds of beings beyond this ice wall. And they might be trying to introduce them in a way where they try to say that they've been doing all the evil in between this ice wall, but they are the ones doing the evil. These ones beyond the ice wall, they're the protectors of this realm. They make sure this realm is fertile. in this time that we're in. So let's get back to the video. Remember, NASA and a lot of other agencies made it to where in 1950 you can't go beyond this ice wall, right? In 1950, so you could still have beings that escaped, right? During that time of World War II, they came, they escaped out of that. They do it in a fashion where you get us all in fear and then you force us to do something, or are they gonna tell us the truth? Because the fact that they aren't gonna get the models of the drones, they're acting like they don't know like how many drones, what serial numbers. I mean, these guys control the activity of how much drones are literally being manufactured, and they're gonna sit here and act like they don't know what's going on. So this is either they are raising fear, they're testing the waters to see how military minded the US is, being that we haven't been in war in a long time, or there are beings beyond the ice wall, right? The Book of Enoch, these kind of beings that the Book of Enoch was taken out by the modern Bible, where it talks about, you know, ETs, dragons, giants. So it's like, will the government tell us the truth, or like, you know, are they testing the waters to see what we know? I mean, only time will tell, right? And it's going to be up to us to discern whether the government is for us or whether they're going to try to round us up in camps. Because by the look of this, they're acting like, oh, we don't know what's going on. They're acting like they can't get the drone model and see where it's being manufactured at. They're acting like this. They're acting like they have no clue. And this is really raising concern. So let's replay this. Let's keep playing this.
Of drone activity. I've made this very clear to the FBI, to Homeland Security, and the FAA, the agencies chiefly responsible for monitoring drone activity. They must immediately disclose more information to the public.
Right.
It's totally and completely unacceptable that you have all this drone activity going on that people are seeing with their own eyes. The fact that the federal agencies responsible for briefing the public have not come forward in a clear way is unacceptable. There has to be some explanation to the public for all this increased activity, and they must do so now.
Let's discuss these mysterious drones with former FBI Supervisory Special Agent Tom Adams. He actually helped pioneer the FBI's counter-drone program used to respond to threats from unmanned aircraft. Thank you so much for being with us, Tom. First off, what do you think is behind these drones? Do you think it's more likely to be some kind of concerted surveillance effort, an issue of...
Because I'm not going to sit here and lie either, right? You know, I've sat outside, you know, just by connecting with nature, right? There's been drones flying over. So it's a matter of like, I just look at the stars, and there's sometimes will be a drone flying over just to see, right? Because let me go to this. Plane drones. It's also, you know, the U.S. surveying, or they also spray chemtrails. They spray metal oxide from these drones. They spray aluminum, they spray barium, they spray all kind of stuff that ruins the air. And they say it's good, but if we really look into it, it's causing all kind of health problems. It's causing this and that. So it's like, you know, they're trying to see what we know here, and as we can see, all of America is very ill-informed about what's going on. So let's keep playing this.
Misidentification or copycats?
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. I think we're looking at a few different things. First, I do believe that there are probably some legitimate visual drone sightings by alert residents and law enforcement in New Jersey. Now, what these drones may be doing, if they're nefarious or not, we don't know. Are they or not following FAA rules and regulations? That's up for debate. I think we're probably seeing some copycat drones flying up in the air with all the media attention. So we're seeing a combination of that. And I do also agree with the DOJ or the FBI and DHS assessment that some of these blinking lights in the sky are actually crewed aircraft that are navigating the airspace. During many operations that I was involved with, as well as investigations into suspected drone sightings in critical infrastructure, it was common for things like planets, believe it or not, low orbit.
That's another thing I'll be making in the future. Not all stars are stars. They could be satellites with balloons on them. They could be what's that? Like he said, crewed aircraft that has propulsion that they can't explain. Being ETs beyond the ice wall. So let's get back into the video.
Or low Earth orbit satellites and crewed aircraft to sometimes be misidentified. But I think the big point here that we're seeing is that the vulnerability is being demonstrated that current federal laws and regulations really limit the types of tools and technologies that owners and operators of critical infrastructure can deploy, as well as state and local law enforcement. So we haven't had any meaningful counter-UAS legislation since 2018. So I think we're well past due for lawmakers in Congress to get to work and to shore up some of those vulnerabilities that we have.
I want you to expand on that, but first I'm curious about how officials can make the determination that there isn't a public safety threat if they don't actually know whether some of these drones may be nefarious or not, or conducting nefarious activity.
Yeah, so you can't look at a drone or a blinking light in the sky and really determine whether it is or is not a threat. I think that some of these suspected sightings, when you look at some of the videos, they look like smaller drones, or they potentially look like crewed aircraft that may be landing in nearby airports. I mean, that area and corridor of the East Coast is full of aircraft flying up and down the East Coast to major airports.
Let's go back to those plane drones that are a bit bigger than normal drones, right? They could play with your eyes. They could be close, but they look super high up because it has the plane look. See what I'm saying? It could be those too, right? Surveying, right? But the fact they don't know definitely means it's something that can't be theirs. It could be.
Into Europe and beyond. So, aside from any specific threat information or specific identification of drones or where they may be coming from, I don't think you can really say that they're a threat. So I think there's still a lot of information gathering to be done so we can get some definitive answers.
Got it. So talk to us about these federal laws and regulations that are currently in place that make it more difficult, that hamper efforts to figure out what this is. What specifically do you think needs to change?
Well, there's a couple big things that need to change. There's a Senate bill that came out a couple years ago, Senate Bill 1631, and it was very promising. It was based on the Biden National Action Plan for Counter-UAS, or largely based on that. There's two big things that I think can really impact this. One is that owners and operators of critical infrastructure, as well as public safety agencies, should be able to start to use a wide variety of drone detection technologies, including some RF detection technologies that would otherwise be illegal for them to use, so that they can gather relevant information from those signals to determine where the pilot is, where the drone is, drone telemetry information, things like that. That's extremely important. The other piece that needs to happen is right now, state and local law enforcement don't have any authorities when appropriate and to use. They don't have any ability to use any drone defeat technologies. And, the DHS and DOJ have been deploying these types of technologies hundreds of times since 2018 very successfully. So it's time to start.
So like I said earlier, right, they're going to try to create fear, mayhem, They're gonna create the problem and then bring a technology and say, oh, it's because it's the problem right here, but they're the ones who created the problem in the first place. They're acting like they don't know why these drones are there, but they could easily get the model, make number, factory, and see what the hell's going on, but they don't. You see what I'm saying? But they're trying to use this to either enforce martial law or to either act like they need to ramp up new technologies, but no citizen is doing this. This is obviously government orchestrated.
Evolving our laws so that we can successfully protect our critical infrastructure.
So I just want to clarify a point you just made. Would you say that you agree with Congressman Gottheimer, Josh Gottheimer of New Jersey, the soundbite that we just played? He was on CNN this morning talking about local officials being given the authority in certain circumstances to shoot drones out of the sky. Would you say that you agree with him?
Well, right now, current federal law, and when I'm speaking of current federal law, I'm speaking of the Preventing Emerging Threats Act of 2018. That law specifically does not provide DOJ or DHS the authority to delegate that authority to any other entity. So right now, current federal laws are really handcuffing our federal agencies. So that's why we really need to expand our laws to allow for this type of activity under the right supervision and training.
Tom Adams, we have to leave the conversation there. Thanks so much for the time.
Thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Joining us now is CNN Chief Law Enforcement and Intelligence Analyst John Miller. Good to see you as always. So, look, obviously we don't have exact confirmation on where these things are coming from. We do have some videos, but I just wonder what your take is on what we're seeing right now and sort of how people should be approaching what we're seeing.
Well, it's a bit of a mystery in that it has been remarkably persistent, meaning authorities in New Jersey tell me that they have had reports and sightings every single night except Thanksgiving, which is interesting. But the possibilities are foreign actors gathering intelligence, possibly on military locations. Could that be Russia? Could that be China? Could that be Iran? We've seen those kinds of things before. If you recall, almost 2 years ago, we had that.
And the fact that they could easily look at this drone and tell if it's a U.S. model drone. That's why I don't get, why are they acting like that, bro? It proves that China, Russia, the U.S., Putin, Biden, Trump, the other Chinese president, they're all shaking hands. Y'all could easily see if it's a U.S. model drone. And they're acting like, oh, yeah, Chinese. Well, fucking see if it's a Chinese drone, bro. It's all this ifs and whats. It's like they want to see what we know. How about you tell us what's going on? You're spending all of our money on our security. What's going on here?
Chinese military balloon that crossed across the United States with camera equipment and high-resolution equipment on board. Could it be drone enthusiasts who are playing some kind of aerial game? Could it be U.S. government doing a red team exercise against air bases to test their response to drone incursions? Right now, what the White House is saying is that they have no evidence to believe it's a threat to public safety or aviation, no evidence to say that it is foreign, but they don't say what they think it is.
So yeah, that'll be it for the video, y'all. If they wanted to say what it is, if they really wanted to, they could. But the fact they're trying to act confused, they're trying to act like this and that, really raises the fact that, they could be gathering intel. Like I said in the video, they could be doing all that kind of stuff. But the fact that they're acting like, they can't easily see if it's a China, Russia, or U.S. drone, what the heck's going on, bro? And they easily have the technology to check anything, really. So it's like, how are you gonna sit here and say that you can't look at the model of the drone and go to the factory, but at the same time it's like they could easily do this. So they're trying to see what we know too. It's this thing where
And I think that gap is what's left people a little bit concerned over what's going on. And there is a military installation in the area, Picatinny Arsenal in northern New Jersey. And I talked to one of their people yesterday, and they told me they had sightings, confirmed sighting as they described it, back on November 13th. Obviously, we're here a month later. Are you surprised that either the government at the state level, local, or even federal hasn't come out with a reason as to why these drone sightings are happening?
No, because we've seen this before. We had a very similar set of incidents late in 2023 that the government acknowledged only in 2024, down around Norfolk, Virginia, over an Air Force base there. And interestingly, and not necessarily related, but coincidentally, yesterday the Justice Department announced federal charges against a Chinese national who was arrested in Santa Barbara County for launching a drone over a Space Force base.
So here's the main point, y'all. If it was our drones, they would say it. But this proves that, they can't even tell us, yeah, we don't know what these are, we don't know. They can't even say that because they fear the US be like, bro, I thought we were the top military, we can't even see. So it's this thing where the US doesn't want to lose its power. There's all kind of factors that weigh into this, right? But all we need to know is that it could be craft from beyond the ice wall. It could be Russia and China. Either way, we got to start getting ready. It shows that these times are really starting to get out of the government's hands and back into the beings that seek peace's hands, right? But it shows that they would rather have the U.S. ill-informed, divided about what's going on instead of understanding and unified about what's going on. But it's John Smooth. I'm out. Peace.